Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Super Lunch Roast Podcast, episode number 77. I am Brendan.
And I'm Nate.
Okay, we're doing something new. We're not going to rely on Skype to record things. I'm going to use OBS Studio that I've been using for everything else to record my Skype calls. You know, like I should have been doing 40 fucking episodes ago.
Hey, you live and you learn. And then
You live,
sometimes
you
you
learn,
don't.
and then you just wait. And you know what triggered it is I started streaming League of Legends, right? I started streaming
Yeah.
League of Legends, and I have to superimpose like the window, like myself in front of the window, right? So I've got myself over here, and then like the window of like whatever. Anyway, I was like running because I ran like 8 miles today, and like 4 miles
Nice.
in, I like my brain went totally absent while I'm listening to the Adventure Zone. And I like started thinking about recording. I'm like, wait a minute. If I could record a window, I could just record a Skype, and then I could put it in OBS, and then I could. And so the thing
Have you
that
started the new arc of Adventure Zone? Or are you just...
Ethersea, no, I'm actually listening to Amnesty because I never listened all the way to Amnesty, and then I'm gonna go through graduation, and then hopefully Ethersea will be done by the time I get to it.
Hooray.
But I have put in over 100 miles this month. I think I'm at
Good
like
stuff, dude.
like I gotta see what I'm at now, but yeah, so I'm training for that. Like there's an ultra. I'm kind of looking at. I'm at 122 miles this month. So I'm looking at a 50-mile race in March or April, but they didn't list any of the 2022 events yet. There's only one listed, so I gotta find one. But I know that's like what I'm training for. So, all right, enough of my life. Nobody cares. We're going to talk about UFC 266. We're going to talk about Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to talk about Jon Jones getting arrested again. Because why not?
I did not even hear about this.
Oh my
I'm
God,
gonna
it's the
refresh
best.
myself.
It's so
Ooh.
Jon Jones. It is so Jon Jones. You wouldn't believe it. Okay, so there's that. Maybe some like Alexander Volkonovsky versus Brian Ortega obviously was the main event, and then possibly some Henry Cejudo talk in there. So before we get started, please, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what we're doing, if you like the UFC, if you like MMA, please like and subscribe. You can go back and look at all my other takes, and then you can even go back further to find ones where we talk about things other than MMA. They're a rare find, but they're there. Let's see.
Occasionally. And yes, we are still doing, coming soon,
Oh, the Karate Kid.
Cobra Kai.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Our Cobra Kai recap and predictions.
Because that's in
and
December.
then eventually our reactions.
That's in December, so we need to look at it beforehand. We'll watch the first season, recap the first season, we'll watch the second season, recap that one, and then give our predictions for the third season. That's kind of the idea. Hopefully on a dead week when there's no UFC.
Oh, and speaking of,
Wow, it's
since
hot
we're kind of on the subject,
Ooh.
I started watching Karate Combat, which you mentioned about Brassroot
Yeah.
GSP. Yeah, I went through and watched like 2 of their events, and goddamn,
I told you it was good.
yeah, that was fun. God, I'm so mad at how right Joe Rogan was about just having the open, basically just having
Yeah.
the open arena.
Dude, like
Yeah,
that's
'cause
it's
doing
the
the-
way to do it.
Mm.
Because you
Yeah,
can't
just-
you can't back up against it, like walk up against it that far. And you see when their people are dodging, they kind of just lean against it. I think the dynamics would change a little bit with grappling involved, but
Of course,
dude, it's the right way
I'm
to
a
go.
fan. Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
It's less intrusive as far as visually when you're there too, because there's no cage in your face. You don't have to like peer through the slats.
Like, the cinematography would be better.
Yep.
The fan experience would be better
Yep.
because then everyone would be looking down into it.
Exactly, and it feels
Yeah.
like you're there. Like there's just like a fight happening,
Yeah.
and
Like, you could actually get the booth reaction with basically their head level as to
yeah,
the edge of it.
yeah,
Like it.
that would be. I think it'd be fun.
Oh yeah, way better.
I think they would have to work on maybe the materials or something, maybe for that edge, so that they're not like. I think a bowl shape would be better. I don't like a corner, I don't like a sharp corner. That seems like if you get slammed in there the wrong way, it could be bad.
I mean, you could even adapt the octagon to that.
Oh, absolutely, just sink it
Yeah,
down.
like because it would. Yep, because you could have the octagon and then smooth out the corner.
Yep,
So
I'm
that
okay
way it's
with
not
it.
as sharp as the 4-sided. So yeah, so you'd still get the iconic octagon shape.
Dude, I wouldn't even mind them doing that for like the Contender Series or something, or like,
Hmm.
hey, Dana White presents,
Just
Pit Combat, like
yeah,
whatever.
just start experimenting with it and some of the other, sub UFC properties and just see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Buffy.
All right, main event, the featherweight title fight. Alexander Volkanovski defeating Brian Ortega via decision. Um,
What a fight.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so Brian Ortega took a ton of damage. This had a lot of Max Holloway. You know, when he fought Max for the title, this had a lot of that in it, right? Where he was getting battered and beaten, pillar to post, taking a lot of damage, still throwing out good shots, right? He wasn't out of the fight necessarily, but the macro, like the overall tale of the fight was Brian Ortega's taking a lot of damage. He's taking a ton of it, and over 5 rounds, he maybe won one of those rounds, being the 5th round.
Yep.
That being said, in the 3rd round, he had
Ooh.
so Brian Ortega has a nasty squeeze. We saw it when he did it to like Cub Swanson. Man, who else did he put in that thing and almost like ripped their head off? But the Cub Swanson one comes to memory because he was
Like
elevated.
collapsed the dude's throat, didn't he?
He might have, but it wasn't Cub. Oh, maybe it was Cub. So what he did, you remember what he did to Cub is he hopped on him, right? So he gets to the guillotine, a standing guillotine, hops on him, throws his guard around him, and then readjusts while hanging on him with his legs. Like he's falling off, and like Cub Swanson's like neck looks like it was getting stretched out, and then he like readjusts while he's hanging on him, while he's still standing, and puts it in deeper. That was incredible. Obviously, he's called T-City because of the triangle he throws up. He also had Volkanovski in one of those.
Oof.
What was your take on the fight because there's some cool things that I noticed from Volkanovski.
First of all, his ability to escape, like his
Yeah,
calmness
that's what I want to
and his
talk about.
ability to escape it, like that was really the big thing that stuck out to me was like his maturity, his calmness in the ring, his ability to kind of stay centered and not get flustered, even in those situations where, 99% of UFC fighters in those submissions probably would have tapped. They probably wouldn't have fought in the way that he fought, and like he was just able to get out of him in such like a calm and meticulous manner that like
Yeah, I think everyone not named Tony Ferguson taps to that.
yeah, pretty much. And that was the most impressive thing out of that fight for me, aside from his ability to then turn around and continue to beat on Brian Ortega for the rest of the fight.
So when Ortega, it wasn't a knockdown. It was kind of like a stumble, when Volkanovski ended up on his butt. If I remember it correctly, I don't think he landed like a clean punch or anything. It was kind of just like a trip, right? Off balance type of deal. Volkanovski gets put down on his butt real quick, and then Ortega does that like jiu-jitsu thing where like he basically big fishes you. Do you know what I mean? Big fish, little fish. Like he just like collapses over your body and then got his head tucked in for the guillotine and then got his guard, like he wrapped his legs around to put the proper pressure in.
Also, it looked like it was done. Most cases, most people with Brian Ortega around them like that, it looks like it's over.
When they looped around and they showed Volkanovski's face, there was a part of me, and to be fair, there's always a part of me that thinks this. But what I was thinking was, I was like, there's no way he's tapping to this. Like, he's just going to go out. Like, there's no way he's going to tap to this, so he's got to put him to sleep. And then when you saw his face, when he's tapped around and he was turning purple, like, you could see, there was just a look in his eyes, like, I'm not fucking tapping to this. This is not how I'm losing. And he waits it out. He feels Ortega, and his chin was tucked, right? It looked tight. It was very tight, but his chin still was tucked, and the arm wasn't all the way under. It wasn't like pressing on the esophagus, right? It was like in here, still pressing on the throat, but there was a little bit of pressure that Volkanovski was able to keep off by keeping his chin tucked. And then he gets back on top, whatever, and he starts throwing a little bit of ground and pound, and then Ortega gets him in the triangle. And then everybody's like, oh, this is over again. And then you look like that look is when I knew that Ortega wasn't going to win that fight no matter what he did, unless he like straight knocked him out with one, like a flash knockout. It was the look on his face where Ortega had him in the laced up in the triangle really tight, Volkanovski flips to his side, and he's just staring directly at Ortega, like with blood dripping down his face, and he just has these eyes, like I'm not.
It's not happening.
I'm not fucking tapping. He just, and then like Ortega tries to adjust, and Volkanovski switches out, gets on top, and throws some nasty ground and pound, in which I thought the fight should have been stopped after those shots.
It was pretty, yeah.
But yeah, Ortega is obviously game. It's his problem has never been, can he take a punch? He's always been able to take a punch. We saw that in the Max Holloway fight. The real thing is he ever going to become defensive, sound enough defensively to attack basically the two upper echelon fighters in this division, being Volkanovski and Holloway, guys with very crisp boxing and also tactics, right? Because okay, go ahead.
And good takedown offense.
Yes.
And like, not just straight up stand up guys, like people that are good enough all around to where it's hard for Ortega to get in there and impose what he's best at on them.
Based off what I saw, I think Ortega would have problems with Kelvin Kattar. Kelvin Kattar has
That's fair, yeah.
clean boxing, and yeah, he got tuned up by Max Holloway, but so does everyone else not named Volkanovski, right? I think Ortega would have a problem with Aldo, but Aldo doesn't fight at featherweight anymore, so it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of time, like a lot of things, and my biggest pet peeve, obviously, is the fact that there's one that I keep bringing up. You know how I feel about PEDs. I know how you feel about them. The thing I don't like is when either the media or general MMA fandom treats fighters with inequality as far as pointing out their flaws, right? TJ Dillashaw, obviously, got popped for EPO, admitted it, said this is why I did it, gave the exact reasons, explained why he was doing what he was doing, apologized for it, said, listen, like I got caught doing it, like it was stupid, I shouldn't have done it, it was a dumb thing, whatever, I'm not going to do it, right? And he gets thrown under the bus, treated like crap, and he shouldn't be fighting in the UFC anymore. He's nothing but a drug cheat. Brian Ortega popped for testosterone for his very first fight, and nobody brings it up. See, like
I didn't even know that.
Exactly.
I'd never even heard it.
And that's what I'm saying is like he got a no contest because he popped his pre-fight test, which means he was on it all the way up until then. Like that's
just rolling deep.
Yes. And again, I don't hold it against him as far as like, oh, you cheated, therefore you never can. It's more like I feel that the media should be bringing this to light so he gets the same treatment as everyone else does or if we're all going to just sweep it under the bus, like look at Jon Jones. He screws up all the time, and he's failed those drug tests, and he gets ripped apart for it, deservingly so. But like, there's fighters who pop all the time who are just like, well, we'll leave him alone.
There's an air of making Dillashaw into a villain, though, like because of some of the things that were going on at the time in the division and kind of how he had played himself out to be, like the whole, take it for what it's worth, the whole snake in the grass thing. Like I know it's silly to even think about it now, but there's also like a weird aspect of at the time it happened, there was kind of a little bit of air of him already being a little bit of the villain of that division, depending on who you look at or who you talk to.
Yes.
So like you factor that in, plus then the media just went wild with, all right, what about this fight? What about this fight? What about this fight? So there was all this speculation of basically like, was he on this going all the way back to, when he had his up and coming performance? Because let's be real, he's a guy that, while not big, was always extremely, extremely well conditioned and shredded. So like he kind of had his iconic pictures always look very, muscular, despite the fact that in all reality, if you saw him in real life, he's super small. He's just next to other small people, and he's more muscular than them.
Yeah, he's also very good at conditioning, and he takes care of his body, so he gets shredded down.
So, like, he also had that going against him. And then when you turn around and, all right, WADA puts out its reports of, nope, all tests seem to indicate that it was as truthful as he said it out. It was just for this fight. No evidence whatsoever of any previous use.
Passed all of those, even when they went back and looked at him.
Never seen that anywhere. Like, that's not on the front page of any news. Like,
no.
It's like a retraction to any news story. Like, once idea and the sensation is out there,
Headlines, page
the
1,
correction,
retraction
yeah,
on page 17. Yeah.
the correction never really gets out there because it's not interesting. So like he has suffered from the heavy speculation without really most people knowing about the retraction side.
Yeah, it's just like, and I'm a like part of it is like I'm a TJ Dillashaw fan, but other fighters have had the same treatment, right? I know I'm singling him out, but like nobody talks about Anderson Silva, like how it tainted his legacy, unless you're getting to like a deep dive with MMA fans, right? It's just one of those things where, like, in my opinion, I think, as long as you pass the pre-fight test, like whatever. I mean, I don't assume that everybody's doing drugs like PEDs, right? But I don't care if they are. If it keeps them healthier during the off season or in between fights, I'm more than on board with it. I'd rather them make it to the octagon so that they can test out their abilities. And if you're failing drug tests right beforehand, like it's the intelligence test and you failed it, so it's one of those things. Like we're all gonna agree that we're gonna do these drug tests, but I'm on vacation or I live in the woods, so you can't find me. Like I get 3 whereabout misses, and then I get it's all a bunch of, it's just smoke and mirrors, man. It's just like, it's all publicity, and it's all like, it's still fake. Look at people in the UFC. I can tell you with 99, like 99% certainty that there are, I could name at least 3 fighters who are on the juice or have used it recently.
Let's take a look at the comparison between UFC and NFL then. I mean, NFL,
85%.
all right, people, probably more.
It's conservative.
Let's be real. Yeah, that's very conservative, I'd say. And in terms of testing, that is literally an intelligence test.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely know when it's going to happen. You have all the tools and all the tricks and everything in the world to get past it and not have to worry about it.
Were you popping Deca while you were peeing? Did you accidentally drop your Deca tablet into your piss cup?
And then you're throwing on pads and equipment that allow you to throw more of your body weight than possibly natural at another human being and do enormous amounts of damage with your entire body weight into, essentially their skull, their concussion. Like,
exactly.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
And yet people are worried about, like, oh no, well, I don't want someone possibly on PEDs throwing punches, but it's okay if they're on PEDs, have a helmet on, and then slam their body into another human being at full speed.
I think
at the fastest human beings on earth at full speed at that size.
The fastest at that size, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're talking like, obviously, yes, the world-class sprinters are going to be faster than your average NFL player, but they don't weigh 300 pounds.
Yeah. A 300-pound person that can out-sprint a lot of people in high school track teams.
It's unreal.
At full speed. So, yeah, that's where I'm just like, it's not, I don't get that argument. I don't think it holds up when we look at how we allow it in other avenues.
No, it's just, like I said, it's all theater. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Yeah. All right, so where do you put Volkanovski after this? Like, so here, I'll give you the rankings right now. So Max Holloway's number 1. Obviously, we all want that fight, but he's set up to fight Yair Rodriguez later this year, I believe, or early next year. So we have to wait for that. Brian Ortega is number 2, so he just lost. He probably will drop. No, he shouldn't drop because Yair is 3. Cheng Sung Jung lost to Brian Ortega. Calvin Kattar lost to Max Holloway. And Arnold Allen just got a win recently. Josh Emmett got a win recently. What do you think they do with Volkanovski? What do you think he should do? You think he's just going to wait?
When's the Holloway Rodriguez fight?
Yeah, it just got announced again. So, like, let's just say it's 3 months from now or 2 months from now. Like, we're going to have to wait that plus the additional time for recovery. So, like... It would be 6,
especially if that's
probably 6 months out.
I feel like he's probably going to, if he can pull someone else interesting in before then, like, I think, were you going to bring up something about Henry Cejudo?
Yeah, that was the other thing. So there's possibility, so Henry Cejudo's talking crap as usual. It's like, I'll squash that
happening in the interim, just for kicks.
But I don't want to see Cejudo fight anymore.
I don't want either, but honestly,
yeah, you're right. The timing works.
For a purist, that may not make sense, but for the UFC, that's absolutely the right decision, business-wise.
Timing works. You're right.
So,
yep, that could happen. And Volkanovski,
that's where I put my money.
Volkanovski did acknowledge the fact that He's like, oh, he talks every fight, but I'll squash him. So he didn't dismiss it. He said, I'll beat him. So here we are. What do you think Brian Ortega should do? My opinion, I would like to see him fight Yair Rodriguez. I thought that would be a fun fight. I think that's the fight that should have happened before this anyway.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind him taking a little more time off. So if he fought, like, say Yair lost to Max Holloway, I wouldn't mind them fighting.
Yeah, I don't want to see
even
him
if
fighting.
It's 6 months from now.
I don't want to see him fight Holloway again. Calvin Kattar would be a fun fight. Arnold Allen, like I said. Josh Emmett's a good fight. Giga Chikadze, that one's fun because that guy is a ball of insanity. So that'd be fun.
I mean, he's fun to watch fight anyone in that division. Like, it's not like his fights are ever boring, or it's not like he's not bringing something incredible to the table.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think there's a bad fight for him other than Max Holloway.
No, but I want to see him fight other people, right? Like this is the problem I have with the UFC trying to push one over on everybody, right? Like on all the, like, I say all the fans, but really just like for money, right? They push Ortega, they push Ortega, they push Ortega. He fights Holloway, gets smoked, and they're like, oh, okay. And then he gets one win, and he's like, and he hasn't, like, he fights once in like 3 freaking years, and he gets a title shot after that. Like, I have a problem with that. Like, there's a lot of other fighters who have been, down in the trenches, doing the work, especially Max Holloway, just smoking contenders nonstop, and he gets passed over for it. I understand that they fought twice, but this is the problem you end up with, though. Like, there are a lot of fun matchups for Brian Ortega, but we haven't been able to see any of them because he's sat out and they just instantly give him a title shot. I have a huge problem with. It's the same problem I have with, like, Cody Garbrandt when they keep trying to push one over. If he had gotten a win at any point recently, other than the Rafaela Sunsao one, he would have gotten a title shot again. But he can't put 2 wins together, so they're like, well, we can't give him a title shot yet, I guess. Like, look at Jose Aldo, got a title shot after a loss. It's like, if they want to put someone in the title contention and in the title picture, they just do it, right? Sometimes it's for the better with, like, exciting fights, but sometimes it's like this, where, like, Ortega.
I mean, it's hype train. If someone has enough hype behind them, they'll get to the show.
Yeah, and again, I don't hate Ortega. I don't like the way the UFC has represented his skill set, brand, and marketing, right? I don't believe that he's this unbeatable force. Like, no part of me thought that he was on the same level as Volkanovski. I did think that he could catch him possibly in a submission. Obviously, he was very close, right? He always has that possibility. But nowhere in my brain was I like, oh, Ortega can beat Volkanovski because he's got all the skills to do it. Dude, like I said before, he was beaten pillar to post. Like, look at the strike count. Even in the 5th round, in which people think Ortega outstruck Volkanovski, he didn't. He was outstruck by 10 significant strikes.
It was not a close fight.
No.
In any form or fashion. No. And
like that, Volkanovski is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else in the division that we've seen so far, not named Max Holloway.
Yeah, I think when you brought up Calvin Kattar, that'd probably be my choice. I don't know if he's got a fight. Yeah, I don't know if he's got a fight set up right now, but if he doesn't, that's where I would. It
would help get his boxing over because, like, everybody talked about Brian Ortega's boxing skills when he knocked out Frankie Edgar. 100-year-old Frankie Edgar, right? Who he outweighs in there by like 30 pounds. So, like, so when he knocks him out, they're like, no one's done that to Frankie Edgar. His boxing is crazy. Look how much power he has. And then he goes and fights Max Holloway and gets tuned up for 5 rounds. Like, yeah, he landed a couple good shots, but he got just destroyed.
Yeah.
So
not on the same level.
I don't hate him. I just don't like what they've done with his marketing stuff. All right. Now let's go to another murder. So, to be fair, this Valentina Shevchenko getting the TKO win over Lauren Murphy in the 4th round. I'll tell you, Lauren Murphy didn't do better than I thought she did. It's not better or worse. Like, it's exactly how I thought it would go. It's just she's really tough and she took
a lot of shots.
She was very tentative, and one way to not get hit is to not be in striking range. So she stayed like 6 feet away from Shevchenko for a lot of the time they were on the feet. And when they were in the clinch, like, she just wasn't strong enough to do anything. So She avoided a lot of the danger, but that's not how you win a title fight, especially when you're outmatched skill-wise. She needed to make it dirty. I don't think she ever took the chance. It's unfortunate because like she has like a really inspiring story and all, but she has 2 split decision wins that she shouldn't have got. The decisions were pretty universally like considered wrong. And she was put in this position because of her record and the fact that this division is thin as the layer on top of creme brulee. And yeah, I went there. French cuisine, what's up? Creme brulee. But dude, Shevchenko just doing the thing again.
Yeah.
Hey, she's
surprising nobody. Shevchenko beats someone who probably should never have been in a title fight with her.
And so, and like, I know everybody's pushing for her to fight Nunes again. I'm over it. Like, I know how I feel about their second fight. I'm not going to turn it down. Like, obviously, I'm interested in seeing it a third time. I mean, what are your feelings on it? Like, her basically destroying the division, because her and Nunes both have very thin divisions because they are so far ahead of everybody else.
Well, yeah, that's because they've totally taken a potato masher and just mashed up the entire division into just delicious, buttery garlic mashed potato. But seriously,
this has a different connotation when we're talking about the female divisions. You should be careful.
Yeah.
You said delicious.
No, I was talking about mashed potatoes. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, aside from them fighting each other again, I don't know who's out there. Like, incredibly, I don't know who's out there that's really an interesting challenge to either of them.
None. Nobody.
Yeah. So, I mean, they could fight 4 more years, and I don't know who is going to come up and really make it interesting.
I mean, I'm not going to be mad at it. I wouldn't mind Shevchenko taking like one more fight at flyweight. Possibly the winner of that fight's coming up soon.
All right, here's what I'd like to see. I would like to see. Do you remember what they did with DJ? Where they had an Ultimate Fighter contest where they just pulled people from outside the UFC, champions from different leagues, put them together, and then had the winner fight them.
Yeah, that's how they created the division.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I think that should be her next fight. I think the UFC should just pull one of those again.
So let's see.
I don't know how hard it'd be to put together, but
Calvillo just lost.
It's the only thing that would be interesting to me is if they did basically a big outside the UFC championship bracket of women they could bring in, and then have the winner face her.
So
because anyone in the UFC right now is not at the level they need to be at to face her.
Yeah, we got Andrade, Chukagian, Lauren Murphy, Jennifer Maia. She's beaten all 4 of them. Calvillo just lost to Andrade. Joanne Calderwood just lost recently. Maybe she didn't. Anyway, Vivian Araujo, Jessica Ai, who she beat. Roxanne Modafferi just lost. Alexa Grasso. Yeah, dude. Because now I'm getting to, like, I'm outside the top 10. Like, you can't give them a title shot.
It gets sketchy. But that's what I mean. Like, they gotta pull a rabbit out of their hat from somewhere. And it's not going to be in the UFC.
I mean, if Rose wants to come up, that would be a fun fight. I wouldn't mind watching that. I think Rose gets smoked, but I think she's an interesting style matchup.
She is. I mean, I think she also
and it's
still
a new
has her
fight.
hands full with Weili coming back.
Oh, of course.
I mean, yeah. So that's still tentative.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing her or Wiley going up too. We've seen the Joanna fight already. Carla Esparzo is not a good matchup. Mackenzie Dern might be fun. People might like that. I think she gets smoked. There's better fighters in the strawweight division. They get outsized, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of why I would just like to see. I think there's a golden opportunity here to make something interesting like they did before, because I do think it was very interesting when they did that with DJ, and it turned out to be a pretty good fight if I remember correctly.
That was Elliott.
Yeah.
That came up and put him in chokes, and people are like, "Whoa, no way!" But he barely made weight, and he couldn't make that weight ever again.
Yeah. So yeah, did he lose? Yeah, but it was still
competitive and close. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, what's next for Valentina is whatever she wants. She's gonna beat pretty much everyone. Lauren Murphy, back to the drawing board. I was never high on her anyway. Her striking is basic, elementary at best, and she just got away with being like really tough, a decent grappler, and relatively strong for the division. And all those things, Valentina's way better at. So, okay, middleweight, probably one of my favorite fights of the night. Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler.
This fight is exactly why they should have a master class.
Dude, it was so much fun seeing Diaz just like come out there and like throw that jumping, spinning heel kick bullshit. It was so funny.
But seriously, fantastic fight. I mean,
Diaz didn't look as good as he could have.
For two people that have not had wins in, what, 3 years? More?
Yeah, but Nick Diaz hasn't fought in 6 years, right? His last fight was against Anderson Silva, which was a no contest.
And Robbie hasn't had a win since 2018, so...
What was his last win? Not Condit. Cerrone?
I think it might have been Cerrone, yeah. That was 2018.
Yeah, that was probably a split decision win over Cerrone, if I remember that right.
I thought he knocked him out early.
No. Cerrone should have got the decision. I remember that one. Like,
but either way,
Lawler had that streak of like where he split decisions that he shouldn't have won, that he won. Remember, that's how he got the title against Johnny Hendricks. Got the title against Johnny Hendricks. Defended it against Condit. One of his defenses was against Condit, which is the split decision that I had Condit winning. And then in the Cerrone split decision. Anyway.
Yes, Cerrone was his last win, and that was 2017 actually.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Wow. So,
yep.
We're talking. It's been a while. So this is why you should have a Masters division, basically.
Yeah, but Robbie Lawler doesn't belong in the Masters division just yet. I would give him like 2 more contender fights, and then if we show that he clearly can't compete with the wrestlers in the division, which has been the problem, right? Your Colby Covingtons, your Rafael dos Anjos type of deals.
Is he even ranked right now?
Robbie Lawler?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think he is. Oh, maybe not. Nope, he's not anymore. When did that happen? Holy moly. Yep.
Division's passed him by, man.
I'm sure it has, but I'm not gonna take it away from him yet because he's still like he's not chinny, he's not getting blown out by people, he's just getting out wrestled and grappled.
Yeah.
So people are taking the safe route against him. He's still a fun action fighter, obviously, and this was a really fun fight to watch.
So let's have him run back him versus Cerrone.
I don't want to see Cerrone fight anymore though.
Exactly. I mean, I don't really want to see Robbie fight anymore either. Like, for at least the guys that are kind of at this stage in their career, but they're still big names. Because there's enough of them to where.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I don't think he's totally out of it yet. There is a very slim chance that Robbie Lawler could fight for a title again. I think it's unlikely, and I know that's crazy to say based off his recent performances, but 2 big wins from Lawler, like he could jump the queue because of how Usman has beat everybody. So depending on how the top of the division kind of sorts itself out, Lawler gets 2 big knockouts or something, they might just throw him past the queue and just throw him in there. I'm not going to hate that.
Maybe
it's Robbie Lawler.
Maybe Lawler Masvidal.
That's a fun fight.
Yeah. Like if I was going to throw him against someone ranked right now, who might be a little, not to call Masvidal overranked, but
he is.
Yeah. Words came out of my mouth. So to throw him against someone ranked right now, which I think is someone who reasonably has kind of the miles that he has too.
Yeah.
In the ring. Yeah, like that. I think that would be kind of fair versus throwing someone up and like, I don't want to throw Robbie against like Bilal Muhammad or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right. As far as Nick Diaz goes, I don't hate him fighting still. I know he looked a little chunky and he wasn't himself, and he came in like a little more tentative, but you could tell in the post-fight speech that like he didn't want to fight Robbie Lawler. It was like, this is weird. He's like, I don't know who made this matchup. I shouldn't be fighting him. He talked about fighting for the title, so clearly that's on his mind. I think Usman
Well,
being the wrestler he is a bad matchup for him. But again, I'm not going to turn it down. I think it would be fun.
now, Nick Diaz versus Masvidal is also a fun fight.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yes.
hell yes.
Yeah, I would watch that one too. That one's fun.
Yeah.
All right. Heavyweights.
I mean,
Curtis Blades getting it done yet again.
God, you stole the words right out of my mouth. I was literally about to say that.
Yeah, dude. I was very excited. I'm always emotionally invested when Curtis Blades is fighting.
This is actually partially like 15% just a Curtis Blades fan club podcast. Like,
Whenever he
let's
fights,
be-
yes.
let's be honest.
Yes, I do love Curtis Blades. I think he's been overlooked and overshadowed by his 3 losses that he has in the UFC, which are unfortunate, right? 2 of them being to Ngannou and then 1 being to Derek Lewis. So all things being considered, the hardest hitters in the heavyweight division have tested his chin, and he didn't pass the test. The Ngannou ones, I would argue, aren't that bad because he got wobbled, not knocked out. Like he got hit behind the ear, which is completely illegal during, when they're moving like that. His balance was thrown off, and then the fight was called off really quick. I'd have to go back. I remember the stoppage being slightly early, but with Ngannou throwing bombs, I don't hate it. That's fine. It's just, his 3 losses are two to the champ and 1 to the guy who just fought for the title, who's fought for the title twice. Like my opinions, notwithstanding of him, I don't care. Just facts. Curtis Blades' only losses are to those guys. So, as far as I'm concerned, he should have got his title shot a long time ago. He should have fought Stipe. He called out, like, he was like, hey, I want Stipe, the Francis Gane winner, I'll take them. Or there's the other one at heavyweight. Who is the other one? I forget now. There's somebody else who was fighting too, and he said, I'll take the winner of that too. Volkov again, maybe?
Was it Volkov?
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway.
I don't want to see the Volkov fight again.
Dude, Rosenstruck, he had...
Rosenstruck is also someone that can knock you out, which I think this was a big step for Curtis Blades and fighting someone that could have put him out.
Yeah.
And kind of getting past that and then working his way through that fight.
Dude, and he got caught like twice, right? And with good shots, like a huge knee right to the jaw, and it didn't put him out. Rosenstruck hits hard. I will tell you, Rosenstruck has a lot of holes in his game. His inactivity, his inability to close the distance when necessary, and I think a couple of at least one of his wins is invalidated in my opinion. We've been over this 1,000 times in the Overeem one. It's just like his whole thing where like he was on a hype train that they were trying to push him, like the Ngannou thing. They were trying to push him.
He was going to be the
next Ngannou.
Yeah, defeater.
Yeah,
whatever.
like, oh, he's got 85 kickboxing matches with 63 knockouts, and it's like, great.
And Ngannou ran through him like a freight train in like
he just walked through, and Rosenstruck hit him going backwards like 5 times, and Ngannou was like, I just need one of these, and then knocked him out. Then he goes against Gane. He fights against Gane, and Gane just tools him. Gane's like, oh, you consider yourself a kickboxer, huh? Well, I'm a better one, and I'm going to out-kickbox you for 5 rounds. Right? So he just tooled him. And then now against Blades, who's a wrestler, and he was tired. He couldn't close the distance when he needed to, and he got, I wouldn't say outstruck on the feet, but he was definitely, like, Blades kept up with him.
It was not a good look for him.
No. So right now, all things being considered, Rosenstruck is not a title contender. Like, I don't think he beats Stipe. I don't think he beats Curtis Blades, or obviously he doesn't beat. I don't think he beats Ngannou, and I see him versus Derek Lewis. Let's just do that.
Oh, God, you're reading my brain tonight.
Because why not?
Yeah, that's what I was literally gonna say. I don't know who else. I don't know who I want to see Derek Lewis fight, but I would watch that fight. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Stipe versus Blades. Like, I called for this last year. I still think this fight should take place. It will kind of it will solidify my thoughts on whether or not Curtis Blaydes had what it took to be the champion at a given time, right? Because if he can beat Stipe, that just tells me that he could have been champion. Because Stipe was the champ, and he was in title contention at the same time. His abilities have not skyrocketed since then. He's essentially as good as he was before, maybe with better cardio. It just tells me that Blaydes could have been champion, and because of matchmaking and scheduling, he wasn't. If he loses to Stipe in convincing fashion and clearly shows that his wrestling isn't it, his cardio isn't it, and his striking isn't there, I'd be like, okay, unless it was a freak.
He's still got a step to go before he gets there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is if he gets flash knockout, that's one thing. But if he gets just picked apart for 5 rounds, it just tells me that he probably was not going to be champion no matter what. While Stipe was,
which he is only 30. So
yeah, he's the youngest guy in the heavyweight ranked in the heavyweight division, I think.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's just.
He could fight another 8 years in heavyweight.
If he reduces his damage and does the Alistair Overeem, where he gets really smart about how he's fighting, which he did this fight, he could extend his career not indefinitely, but for a lot longer than a lot of weight classes can. So he's not done yet. He could outlast a lot of these heavyweights and be champion 5 years from now.
And of the people even close to his age range, it's pretty much him and Ngannou, Cyril Gane,
Cyril Gane's also young. It's just Cyril Gane hasn't fought, a heavy wrestler he hasn't fought Curtis Blaydes yet, so that's a fun matchup too.
That is a fascinating matchup.
I'm all for all of it. I think it's going to be this win for him. I think again it just solidifies in my mind he's a contender. He just destroys everyone's dreams, and unless you can knock him out, he's not going away. It's just. He's really good. All right. Next for him, like I said, I think Miocic would be great. If Miocic doesn't want to sit and wait, I would think that's the matchup. Rosenstruck versus Lewis.
Has Miocic solidly said he's coming back?
No, he wants to wait for the title.
So he is actually waiting. I wasn't sure if he actually was planning on fighting again.
Well, the thing is, he stated very clearly, we talked about this before, about feeling Ngannou getting weaker, and he thought he caught him, and he kind of he made a mistake and paid for it, right? Mm-hmm. But Stipe, and I've said these exact words before. Stipe is not one to pump himself up or put down his opponent. He's there's nothing in his history that tells me I shouldn't believe what he's saying. And he said what he was saying is he felt like he was getting weaker, and in 5 rounds, I can beat him. I was give me another shot at that. So I believe him. And if he wants to wait out, I think being the most accomplished heavyweight in UFC history, I'm more than okay with that too.
I am too, but he is also 39, so
he ain't young.
I don't wait too long. Don't wait too long.
All right, the flyweights. You got Jessica Andrade just stomping Cynthia Calvillo. Calvillo had a little bit of hype on her at flyweight. She's a very loud person in there and very excited and talked about fighting for the title and blah, 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 blah. Andrade was like, no, I'm going to just pick.
Andrade was like, no, it's my birthday.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll make you cry if I want to.
Yeah. Dude, she looks exactly like Vanderlei Silva. When she throws, she just.
That's aggressive.
Well, she just walks forward and throws.
Oh, yeah.
The hooks. That's all. Dude, and she just doesn't care what you're throwing.
Tight, fierce, aggressive hooks.
Yeah. So
brutal.
What do you do with Andrade? Do you have her? I don't want to see her versus Shevchenko. She was utterly dominated. She called for a title shot.
Can she go down?
Yeah, that's where she lost the belt. Remember?
All right. Yeah,
she got knocked out by Wei Li. So I think she's still a competitor in strawweight, but in Jacek, Nami Yunus, and Wei Li all have wins over her. Obviously, she split the ones with Nami Yunus, but Nami Yunus lost via slam, so that was kind of like a freak knockout in a fight that she was winning. So there's that argument against that. She could fight.
I'd probably like to see her go down if she can.
And fight Mackenzie Dern. I mean, that's a good test for Dern. Yeah. Dern's all about the grappling and her jiu-jitsu, and if you can handle yourself with Andrade, then you're ready for the test. I've been pretty down on Dern the whole time because I think her striking is, like I said, super mediocre. And as a strawweight, you better have all your ducks in a row before you go fight for a title, because that is the most competitive female division. So,
oh yeah,
it's one of the best divisions, especially in the top 5. It's one of the best divisions in the UFC. Let's see. A couple of things on the prelims. I think I actually have notes for these. I do.
That's a good thing, because I don't.
So if you
Other
didn't
than Dan
watch,
Hooker.
well, did you watch the Marlon Moraes versus Merab Dvalishvili fight?
Nope.
Oh my God, you missed it!
I know.
So Marlon Moraes did what he usually does. So my buddy Gomez was over. I look over to him. I'm like, Marlon Moraes hits really hard. He's insanely fast, but he breaks a lot and he has bad cardio. So if he doesn't finish him early, he's gonna lose this fight. And we're watching the fight, and like he catches Dvalishvili hard, and Dvalishvili's like loopy. He's falling down. He's like stumbling, like looking like a newborn fawn out there, and just like, dude, he's on ice skates. He's getting whacked, and he makes it through. And I'm telling, like, I could kind of see that Dvalishvili wasn't going away, and I looked to Gomez, and I'm like, if Dvalishvili gets out from under this, he's gonna win this fight. And that's exactly what happened. Like, Marlon Moraes just had nothing left in the tank. I understand that, like, in that position, why wouldn't you go for the finish? You know, he's got a finish over Aljamain Sterling, who's the champ right now. He's got finishes over some of the best competition in the world, being Jose Aldo, controversial or not, whatever. And when he fought for the title, this is exactly what he did against Cejudo, right? He was beating the shit out of him, and he just caved.
Yep.
It's just his cardio, man. Like they say, cardio make what is it? What? Oh, God dang. What is it when you're tired? What is the other word for that? Not exhaustion. Whatever. What's the phrase? Blah 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 will make cowards of us all. Not exhaustion makes cowards of us all. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're saying.
But that's, I'm not shitting on him because he's one of the most skilled fighters in the world. I think he's fantastic. It's just he just doesn't have the cardio to go the distance. So if he doesn't get you out of there, he can't do it. And he fought a more conservative fight against Aldo, but he had a lot of people thought Aldo won that. I didn't. I thought it was close. It was not a robbery. But
is it fatigue?
Fatigue will make cowards of us all. Yes, it is. So Merab, who I've been a huge fan of ever since the first time I saw him fight in the UFC. Fighting out the Longo Serra camp, they talk about how he has infinite cardio. He doesn't stop moving. Watching him fight, he doesn't stop moving. He's just, dude, he's like the Terminator. I think that's his nickname. He's just, it's going to be crazy to watch him, but I tell you, at bantamweight, I don't mind him being considered for a title shot. I really don't. Like, I know that, like, it's kind of loaded right now. But he just beat the number 6 guy in the world convincingly after he got caught. And, like, who's going to hit harder than Marlon Moraes? I don't know anybody who hits harder in that division. Like, anyway, I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe fight Jose Aldo or Rob Font or somebody up in the top 5 after that one, because he just beat number 6. So
yeah, that is fair. Let's see. I'm trying to think.
So Dvalishvili has, I think, I don't know if he has more than one loss in the UFC, but the one loss that I do remember was total bullshit. His nickname is the Machine, by the way. One of his losses is total bullshit, is where he was winning the entire fight, and then in the last 30 seconds of the fight, he was in a mounted either guillotine or a triangle, right?
Yep, guillotine choke.
And he was stomping his feet. He was stomping his feet to try just to keep blood flowing, right? And that's all he was doing.
And they counted as a tap.
No.
Oh.
The bell rang, and he didn't stand up because he went out after the bell. The fight was called, they pulled the guy off the fight, and he didn't stand up because he relaxed. He heard it go, he realized, and he relaxed in that moment, and he went out for a split second. So they're like, that fight's over. But it was after the fight. It was very controversial, and I think it was Mark Goddard who called it. It was total bullshit. I love Ricky Simon, but he definitely didn't win that fucking fight. So he has one real loss, and that was also a split decision against Frankie Sands in the UFC. Other than that, he should be on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fight win streak. He's currently on a 7, but that one should have been.
And just beat Marlon Moraes. All right.
Yeah, throw him in there against Jose Aldo.
And his other loss before that was a split decision. So
yes,
yeah,
please.
I'm not mad at it.
Throw him in there. But yeah, so I remember that one. So Hooker versus Haqparast. Well, yeah, where does Marlon Moraes go? I don't know, man. Like he could still be a gatekeeper, or he could get 2 knockouts and get a title. It's very frustrating watching him fight.
Maybe him versus Rob Font.
Did they fight already? I don't remember.
Don't think they did.
I don't remember.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Rob Font already beat him.
Yep. Yeah, that was his last fight, and he lost. He got the spinning heel kick.
Yeah, because Rob Font beat him right before he beat Cody.
Yep.
All right. Well then, Pedro Munoz maybe. I don't know. I mean, like, there's still fights for him in the division.
Yeah, no, there's tons. It's not that he can't fight anybody. It's just that it sucks because he's really good. He doesn't have the skill set that matches up well with the top 5. All of them have cardio and decent power and good chins. And
well, he's also in a division where cardio is king.
That's true.
Like,
that's true. Yeah, and he just doesn't have
division,
it. So like
it's
that's
awesome
how is he
you
gonna win?
Hit hard in bantamweight, but God, if you don't have cardio,
yeah, how are you gonna win?
Good luck.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point. What am I saying? Let's see. Hooker and Haqparast. The biggest story in this fight was the fact that they both had visa issues coming into the country. They came into the country, I think, 3 days before their fight or 4 days before their fight, and they both made weight, which is incredible. They're relatively big lightweights, especially Hooker. Big size difference. Hooker looked giant. Nasrat looked really tentative, early on, and then he's kind of skated on the edge the whole time. Nasrat looked like he had the power advantage. But Hooker started throwing in takedown attempts. So usually when Hooker does that, it's because he's tired. So I don't know if that was the case this time or if the game plan was, hey, I know I'm going to be tired.
Or just experimenting, because it was definitely a new game plan for him going into it.
But that is the city kickboxing playbook for a lot of fighters is a lot of striking, and then near the end of the round, try to grapple and get him down and steal the round, right? That's a staple. Brad Riddell does it. Obviously, he does it. Izzy doesn't do it so much, but there's one more fight. Oh, Kai Kara France, I think he does it as well. Anyway, Hooker looked really good. He outclassed him pretty much the entire time, and he should have. He's ranked, and Haqparast is not. Mini Kelvin Gastelum did not get the win.
Womp, womp, womp.
So as far as Hooker goes, I don't know what to do with him. I don't really have an opinion. He's lost to like the upper echelon in the division, and he wins against people who are ranked below. Like he wins the fights that he should, and he loses the fights that he should lose. It's
hey, sometimes it's just
he just doesn't overperform.
The level of fighter you're at this time.
Him versus Tony Ferguson. Let's just do it.
I wouldn't mind that. I wanted to see that one for a while. So,
Shamil Abdurakhimov versus Chris Daukaus. Daukaus with some crisp striking. Really light on his feet and gets a huge ass knockout. He knocked him out in the first round, but like Shamil kind of like woke up and they let the fight go on. And the second round he knocked him out again. So, double knockout for him. He even called out. He's like, "Hey, I'm usually getting these 50K bonuses. How about 2 of them since I knocked him out twice?" Roxanne Modafferi not getting the win. She's one of the few fighters in the world with over, there she is, the female fighter on the roster with the most professional fights, 45. She's a pioneer in the sport. She's not athletic. She's not explosive, not strong. She's just a good fighter. She's a technical fighter. She has good cardio, and she's just doesn't go away. She's tough as shit. She really is. Like she takes big shots and can still stay in there. not, in my opinion, just never going to be a title contender, but she is a good test for like the younger talent that's coming in to see if like they're smart enough. Because like Macy Barber was losing to her before she blew her knee out in that fight. That's a good test. The other chick who won, Talia Santos, she won the fight she was supposed to. Like she was the favorite. Medic got submitted by Turner. Cody Brundage lost a fight to Maximov. That's kind of not a boring fight, but lots of grappling. Matthew Semmelsberger getting this giant ass knockout with 15 seconds into the fight against Martin Sano. Absolutely silly knockout. And Jonathan Pierce submitting Omar Morales in the second round. So, all of that being said, that's all the fights that happened. And then we got Santos and Walker fighting next week, October 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Kevin Holland fighting Kyle Dawkins. That's going to be fun. Alex Oliveira versus Nico Price. Holy shit. Misha Serkinov versus Christoph Jocko. Banger. Aspen Ladd, Macy Chiasen. That's a good one. Alexander Hernandez and Mike Breeden. I don't know who Breeden is. Holy moly. This is a really good card. Antonina Shevchenko fighting. Batch Correa's still in the UFC? Question mark, question mark,
Weird.
question mark. Anyway, she's fighting on the prelims. Jamie Malarkey. Douglas Silva de Andrade. Apparently, someone fell asleep while they were typing in Brazilian names.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, apparently Bishko has been active almost every year except for 2018 since she kind of had her moment in the spotlight.
You could have fooled me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those fights are going on. That's what it seems like.
One fight a year, it looks like.
That's what champions do. They fight once a year, and she's clearly my champion.
Champion mindset.
All right.
Let's go,
okay. As far as another big thing happened over the weekend. Anthony Joshua losing a convincing decision to Alexander Usyk. Bye-bye all fun matchups. Not by flash knockout this time. He was outboxed, outskilled for 12 rounds. I mean, obviously he won a few of the rounds. It was a unanimous decision, no controversy. Bye-bye all matchups. No Tyson Fury. No Deontay Wilder fight. Like, he had his moment. His management team had his moment. Not Bob Arum, the British jackass.
The ones that ruined everyone's fun.
He had his moment, and the worst thing I heard. By the way, both great. I mean, they both seem like good guys. Usyk and him are very respectful. Usyk was very excited. He's a hardworking guy, moving up to heavyweight and getting the belt. Incredible. He looked awesome. Great jab. Caught him a few times. Put him on wobbly legs in a few rounds. He just did work for 12 rounds. He just did a good job. One of the things that Joshua said afterwards, he's like, I don't mind fighting Tyson Fury.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't get to do that anymore. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You had your chance 3 years ago.
And I'm gonna throw this out. He's probably had a little bit of, God, I hate to call it Jon Jones syndrome because obviously now with the controversy, but in terms of getting out of bed.
Oh, like excitement for fights?
Yes.
I never bought into that, but okay.
I don't necessarily know that it might be a case where his matchups have not necessarily been exciting for him. He's not fighting because he's not getting matched up with the big names in the sport. That might have led to a little bit of a motivation issue potentially.
Maybe.
Because that was definitely a factor with Ruiz.
Yeah, well, that was clearly, but that was obvious that he just,
Yes.
He didn't give a shit after he got the belt.
Yep.
He was like, this is all I wanted to do. The same thing that happened with Buster Douglas when he beat Tyson. When he got the belt, that his whole goal was to get the belt.
Yep.
And life in boxing ended for him after that, mentally, right? Obviously, he's still, a successful boxer and stuff, and he did things.
Yeah.
It's just, when he got the belt, his brain was like, I did what I was supposed to do. And I'm done. Anthony Joshua is just, he's looked consistently good, minus the knockout loss to Ruiz. I mean, in the rematch, he tooled Ruiz.
Yeah.
This is just a clean win. It's just it's unfortunate, but I think this also does tell us like he probably would have lost to Wilder, and he for sure would have lost to Tyson Fury.
Oh, without a doubt.
What like everybody thought.
I just wish we could have seen it. That would the him versus Tyson Fury fight. I think is really the big loss because of how huge that would have been for the UK and also how huge that would have been internationally. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to see him
lost,
versus Wilder.
but we could at least see it. Yes.
But yeah, him versus Fury absolutely would have been kind of like that would have been the notch in Fury's cap if Joshua still had the belt at this point that Fury needed.
All right, that happened. Oh, the Jon Jones news.
Speaking of Jon Jones syndrome,
so he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I believe it was like he was at the Hall of Fame ceremony along with GSP. It was cool to see GSP there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shaking hands with Nick Diaz, former competitors. He's rooting for him, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so Jon Jones is there.
Yep.
At the ceremony, he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I believe it's for his fight versus Gustafsson. I think that's what it was. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for that, and then 12 hours later, he was arrested for assault and battery, domestic battery or whatever.
Yep.
So this was an outstanding warrant or whatever, something I think that happened in 2020. I don't think it was a 2021 incident. Maybe, I don't know. It's not important. This is the most Jon Jones thing ever. On the day he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame, he also gets arrested. I don't want to go into it too much unless you do. My opinion still stands. The people around him has failed this man. You have created a human being who thinks there are no consequences to his actions, a person who I think doesn't want to do evil. He seems like he does want to do good because there are times where he clearly does that. He reaches out to people in need. He does things for the community. He puts out positive messages. I think, other than him being just like a bipolar person, right? He clearly has some sort of issues and he needs help. And before he hurts himself or someone else again, he fucking needs to get it, and the people around him need to stop being yes men and fucking get that guy the help he needs, because you guys are all pieces of shit. You fucking ruined a human being, and you guys are the ones who deserve the fucking consequences just as much as him, because he was 20 fucking years old when you guys took him under your wing, and you guys didn't take care of this fucking. He was a kid, and you didn't fucking take care of him.
It was tampering with a vehicle and domestic battery.
It's this. Apparently, you can get charged with domestic battery by like cutting brake lines.
Yeah, which probably could have had something to do with some kind of damage caused to a vehicle.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean he went and beat someone in his family. It means that we don't know what happened, but
I'm gonna throw out a theory. Likely alcohol involved, and likely.
It sounds like
it could have been like a bottle thrown at a vehicle.
It also could have just been a joke.
Yeah, but joke or whatever aside, this is a case of someone getting failed by their team, because you can actually see it's not just him. He's got a family. He's got an incredibly successful athletic family, and you could see other people in his family flourishing.
Yeah,
other people in his family who obviously have a team around them that. One, helps them stay out of trouble, stay in the straight and provide the support structure they need. I mean, this is in the same year that his brother's having, one of the best starts in the NFL he's ever had.
Oh, did he set a record for sacks, tackles, and something in a game?
I think it was something ridiculous. He got 5 sacks in the first game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just that. That's a great example of, all right, this obviously isn't something rooted from way back when. This is a pure example of mismanagement by the organization and by the people around him.
It's absolutely ridiculous that we're still talking about this in 2021. It doesn't seem like it's ever coming to an end based off of what we've seen in the past. I've my notes changed on him. I think it was back in 2020, because I think in 2019 I still had a hard line like Jon Jones is a piece of shit. Get your shit together. I think in 2020 is when I really switched. When he was driving around shooting a gun off. and like I said, my opinion stands. The people at Jackson Wink, all the people around him, all his teammates, like who are involved in his life heavily. Obviously, you're involved in their life. Every teammate isn't like best friends with Jon Jones, right? You know that, just like you at work. Like you probably hang out with some people outside of work, maybe you don't. You're closer with some people in your team than others. Same with your family members. Anyway, the ones who are closest to him, you're fucking failing him. And I don't know you personally, but from what you've allowed this man to do, you guys seem like real pieces of shit. You're a real piece of shit.
Possibly.
I think you should leave on Netflix, that comedy show.
Oh,
there's a whole bit about, he's like, I used to be a real piece of shit. It seems like your baby doesn't think people can change. Guess what? This old man, your dad, he was a real piece of shit too, but he's not anymore. It's stupid, but
I have not seen it, but it sounds funny. And I was just gonna say, I'm gonna excuse for the team a little bit, because there is a certain extent of like, how much responsibility does a teammate have in the UFC, especially when it's.
I don't necessarily mean the teammates. I mean the coaches, the guys who've been there since he was 20 years old, taking all of his fucking money. You're taking all the money.
Coaches, management team, they're complete failures.
Oh, the management team can go fuck themselves. Like that's they're the worst of the worst. They've taken money and done like fucking nothing for them.
Yeah, but I'm gonna excuse the teammate aspect a little bit, because
sure,
yeah, cool. Just because you train with someone doesn't mean you're really responsible for what they do outside of the outside
fair.
of the ring.
That's fair. It makes me really upset when I see this keep happening, because like he's gonna hurt somebody, whether it be an accident, a joke, inebriation, drug use, just lack of care, mental instability, whatever it might be. He's gonna fucking hurt somebody. He already has multiple times. Dude, he wrapped a car around a pole with other people in the car.
That's what I said. Again,
drunk.
Like it would be hurting someone again, because it wouldn't be the first time.
He hit that pregnant chick with the car and then ran away. The guy, dude, he's hurt people before, and we're lucky that he hasn't fucking killed someone. Because like in those are accidents, right?
Yep.
Those are accidents. Like they could have been a lot worse. And that's the thing, is he's gotten away with all of his actions and with very little consequences. So why would he change? Well, it's because the people around him aren't holding his feet to the fire when it comes to mistakes. They let him do it because they're all benefiting from the money he's making, and they don't give a shit because their lives are cushy and they get to go home to their families. So think about this. The next time you're hanging out with your kids in the car and Jon Jones is speeding down the highway and hits your fucking car, I bet your tone would change a little bit. So you guys can all go fuck yourselves. Like, it pisses me off to see like this happen. Like, I don't know. It's whatever. We've watched Jon Jones for over a decade now, and being one of the most successful light heavyweights of all time, if not obviously the most successful, one of the most talented fighting minds and highest fight IQs in UFC history, and it's just nothing but transgressions outside of the octagon. He got in the wrong crowd. I'm guessing Izzy Martinez, the trainer, the wrestling coach up in Chicago here, who was a famous coke addict himself, probably got Jon Jones involved in that shit, so he can go fuck himself too. Like, if you're not gonna the dude was a fucking kid. He was a kid, and he got handed the keys to the castle.
Yep.
He got handed the keys to the castle at fucking 22 years old, with no responsibilities, and they're like, all right, kid, everything's yours, bye. And then, they all just left him alone. But then they came and collected taxes from him, but they don't care about who he hurts in the process. It's garbage.
And it also seems like it just sucks. Like, yeah, team sucks. You gotta put a decent amount of it. At this point,
I don't know.
You gotta put a decent amount on Jon Jones.
I'm not excusing him from, obviously he's responsible. No. I understand that he's a grown ass man and he's responsible for his actions. I'm not excusing what he's doing. What I'm saying is, I no longer am taking the stance that Jon Jones is a real piece of garbage. Fuck that guy. He should go kill himself. Obviously I never had that full stance, but you know what I mean? I'm not being aggressive saying oh, you piece of shit, get your shit together. Clearly he can't. He doesn't have the ability to, because if he did, he would have done it by now. Like, there's something about him that is preventing him, like, being someone who has dealt with mental illness personally. Like, there are certain things I can't fucking do. Like, I've never been able to do that my whole life. And seeing another human being going through that shit fucking drives me nuts, because there's people around him who could fucking help him. Like, I've had people help me before, multiple times. Like, you've helped me when I was going through shit. And like, I can't talk like this. I can't talk myself off a metaphorical edge, right? I just don't have the ability to do that. Some people do. Like, call me weak, call me whatever. I don't give a shit. But I know what it feels like to not be able to change my actions. And it fucking sucks. And like,
and it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks it sucks because he probably doesn't have real friends.
No, he doesn't.
Like,
he has fucking leeches around him.
And that's what's disappointing. Like, that's a hard world to be in and try and navigate and evaluate when you don't have that.
Fuck, now I'm getting all
and
emotional.
He might not have
God, this sucks.
And he might not have the skills at this point to make him, when you consider how young he was when he had that success.
Exactly.
Like,
dude,
yeah.
I'm lucky because I have real friends. Like, I've had people who have taken care of me. Like, my family has, like, taken care of me when I've made mistakes, and, like, you know, they've never shunned me or kicked me to the curb, or, you know, when I have been successful, they're not just leeching off my success and then, like, not caring about me. It's the exact opposite. They, like, help me get on my feet, and then they let me go, you know. And I have had a relatively comfortable life in the past few years because of, you know, the people around me helping me get there. And, like, he's done that as far as financially and career-wise, but as far as mentally and, like, legally, he fucking hasn't. Like, dude, he's doing illegal things. We talk about in the octagon, like, as animated as people get, like, especially me, when it comes to, like, rule infractions, which he is also guilty of. But, dude, like, these are actual laws put in place to protect other human beings' lives and property, and he's breaking them.
And for the rule infractions, I'm actually going to put a little bit more of that on his team, because it does seem to be part of his standard
no, that's
game.
That's the UFC laissez-faire attitude, because you get
the UFC laissez-faire attitude plus
the commission,
plus his coaches putting a game plan together around it.
Like, poke him.
I mean, literally, like it. That's the game plan.
You have reach on everybody in the division. Just keep your fingers out.
Just put. If you're not hitting them, just have your fingers out.
And just poke them when they move in, and you win. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough negativity. Let's see. Anything else we got over the weekend? I don't remember anything else that was of note.
Nope.
I ran 16.65 miles on Saturday.
Hell yeah, you did.
At a what pace did I do? I think that was a 9 minute and 30 seconds. 9:40.
We did have the Arnold Classic yesterday.
What? I have been so out of the loop when it comes to bodybuilding.
Yeah, Nick Walker won the Arnold Classic in dominant fashion. So, basically, his second and third shows as a pro, he won the New York Pro and the Arnold Classic.
Oh, and that William guy won the 212 division again.
Mm-hmm.
William Bonac, I think his name is.
And then Terrence Ruffin won whatchamacallit? Classic. Classic? Interesting. The Classic division at Arnold Classic.
The Arnold Classic.
Yes. Classic physique. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wow, he does not.
But
this guy, Nick Walker, does not look good. He does not. Like, he has decent legs and his calves are developed, and he has, like, a lot of vascularity in his tibial flexors, like the front of his legs. But his upper body is kind of a shit show. Like, he's bloated.
The big criticism is the blockiness.
Yeah.
Like,
he has no shape.
Yeah. Which, I mean, he definitely came in very
His front
conditioned.
double is better than the guy standing next to him, though. Steve Kuklo. Steve Kuklo is more
Steve
chunky.
Kuklo and Ian Vair were.
No, he looks better than him. His front double is pretty good. He doesn't have a X frame. Like, I like the X frame, but he doesn't have that. Who's that guy all the way to the right? Ian Valeri or Justin Rodriguez? I think that's Ian Valeri. He looks good.
Yeah, he came second.
Yeah, that guy looks real good. Like, he's got a vacuum in his front double. That's That's very good for real bodybuilding. I bet you he lost because of his calves
Hmm.
and his back a little underdeveloped. I
But yeah,
hate that I know all these things.
no, I find it fascinating.
It's
I don't
just
know. We've talked about it like
the
only
classic
slightly.
division is kind of where I lean to now. As much as I'm because I've never been a fan of physique.
Yeah.
I think that the division is inherently flawed. When you tell me that I can't be a certain size, like I can't be too big. Like the idea is to have the most muscular and like the best shape, right? But if
Hmm.
I'm bigger than everybody and I have bigger muscles and I have a better shape, oh, you're too big for the division. That's a problem because that means there's a cap on how muscular you can get. Whereas with the classic
Isn't there
physique,
also no weight limit on
yeah, there's also but
physique, which is weird?
yes, because you have to be skinny. Like you have to
Yeah.
look like a model almost. Like you
Yeah.
so the thing that I like about classic physique is that there is no technical muscular limit. It's just that you are limited by the original rule set held to a more classic standard, which is the shape, like your actual shape. So being able to hold a vacuum is important. It was very important in early bodybuilding, and it kind of went away in the late '80s, early '90s. Is like really when it went away. The mass monsters of the '90s, with Dorian Yates, and then
Hmm.
Ronnie Coleman taking after him, and then obviously you had Jay Cutler. They kind of just trashed the natural the the body, like the body shape, and
Oh
it
yeah.
it took bodybuilding in a direction of mass, to the point now where like you look at this guy who won, who can't pull a vacuum. He has blocky abs. He can't pull his gut in. Um,
I'll give him credit. At least he has abs, like defined abs.
well, you should if you win.
Yeah,
It's
you
just
should.
like his most muscular pose is real bad. Like he has really good shoulders. His arms are decent, but his gut is horrendous. Like that's the problem I have with modern bodybuilding is the gut. I don't like
Mm.
the overly blocky look either. I like guys with shape, and that's why I like the guys in classic physique better. They have more of a. It's not even like attainable because you still need like 1% genetics to
Yes.
even like sniff that look. It's just it seems less damaging to the body, and it seems more natural to me. Not natural as in drug use, natural as in like that's how a human being should look.
No, I mean, it's more statuesque.
Yeah. Um, I think that's the
Like that.
real pinnacle.
If you were to sculpt something muscular out of marble, like that's actually a little closer to what you're looking for.
Yes. Yeah, I would, and I would lean towards that when it comes to um, peak human physical, like
Hmm.
physicality. Whereas like,
I mean, and there's also a BMI factor of like pure
well,
unhealthiness from
yes,
a
yes,
level of body mass
yes,
that you're talking about when you get into the mass monster range.
and as far as I'm concerned, the mass monsters to me um, moved into this area where they just look like inflexible powerlifters. like and like a powerlifter's physique doesn't matter because the object of the game is to lift a weight in a certain direction, and that's it. So
Hmm.
it's performance based, right? It's not aesthetic. So as far as like human physique goes, that's not what you need to look
But
like. You don't need to look like a certain thing to get the job done. And then on the opposite side of that, if you want to improve your physique and hit the peak, the pinnacle of physique, it would be the classic, the
yeah,
classic look. Everything else past that, where you blow out your gut just to put on another 20 pounds of muscle on your legs because you're overeating and causing gut inflammation, and you're spot injecting both testosterone, and you're using IG, you're injecting insulin. Like there's so many things like that go into the biggest guys that ruin their look and their
yep.
body going forward, that I think the classic physique is the one that's going to take over the next decade.
I mean, I would say it's moving in that direction, especially with personality-wise, like Chris Bumstead,
Yep.
Terrence Ruffin, like the guys at the height of the divisions right now are also bringing both positivity and media presence, like their YouTube channels, their presence on social media. It's, they're out there promoting more so than most guys at the top of open bodybuilding.
And I guess that's one of the things for me that kind of
beyond just the quick like IG shots and.
Well, that's what turned me off of bodybuilding, honestly, was the fact that mainstream is the wrong word for it. It's more that it became clickbaity, right? I don't care if something I like becomes mainstream. It doesn't make me like it less. Like if the UFC becomes more mainstream, if MMA becomes more mainstream, it doesn't hurt my fandom. In fact, it's awesome because I get more people to talk about it with. It's the clickbaitiness of fitness where everything becomes everybody's an expert. They throw it everything they throw it on Instagram. Everybody's an Instagram model, and everybody's going to the gym. Everybody's doing these workouts. It's like it's people absorbing the wrong message from bodybuilding. Like the message used to be like, hey, we're going to take the human physique to the maximum potential. I'm going to work my ass off to do everything I can. And now it's become, I'm going to market myself as much as I can to make money selling my body. So everybody's essentially just become hookers. And like, think about MMA. What makes people the angriest now? As far as like hardcore fans, what pisses the people off the most? Talking. The talking.
That's fair.
Right? People becoming fucking whores. That's what it is. And it's disgusting on a human level.
It's also a little bit of what happens though when it's not a livable wage. Like professional bodybuilding is not.
It's not supposed to be.
I know, but you have people that figure out how to make a living doing it,
and I'm not saying they can't market.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I'm not saying that we can't. Someone who is working really hard, I'm not saying they can't record themselves doing workouts and be like, hey, I'm going to the gym today, I'm doing this, or hey, I use these supplements, blah, blah, blah. But
I respect the workouts more than the supplements.
Oh, I was about to say, the industry is racked with people fucking just outright lying. Not like misleading or saying half truth. Just like literally, like when Mike O'Hearn tells you that he's natural, he's lying to you, so you buy his shit. That's what he's doing. He's not natural. Not that I think he should be. I don't care. I don't care what he does to look the way he wants to look. I don't care.
But 95% of the fitness industry is in that same category of
they all say they're
either never talking about it or flat out lying and saying that they're natural. And I mean in terms of like, the type of fit industry I'm talking about.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's women. It's women's butts and guys selling Bang energy drinks.
Yep,
is what it is. And then former YouTubers going on saying that they got this new G Fuel. Dude, it is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen. Like I'm telling you, like seeing children, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, moving in that direction, and then like it has tainted what the gym meant to me. Like I have my own gym now. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want. Like I work out on my own. I run on my own. I do all my stuff by myself. I don't need a workout partner. I don't need to follow someone else's plan. Although I do that sometimes, and I enjoy that as well. But going to the gym for me used to mean like that was like an experience. Like I went to the gym because I was trying to better myself. Like I really wanted a certain physique, and I was working really hard to get it, right? And right around 2010, when I got out of the Navy, dude, it took a turn for the disgusting. Everybody was there to take pictures. Everybody went to the gym to take pictures. Dude, when the iPhone like really became like good at taking pictures, that's when the gym changed for me. It was like I disliked going there because like I have less of a problem with people flexing I'm going to make fun of you. Like unless you're prepping for a show, and I know if you are or not, because I can tell what the fuck you're doing. Like, I'm not stupid. I've gone down that road. I've flexed in the gym too. I've done in between. It creates a mind-muscle connection, right? In between my sets, I practice holding my positions, and I practice holding all like different poses that I need to do, because it increases my stamina for that position. It gets me comfortable holding it, and it becomes second nature when I'm doing it, right? Those are important things when you're on stage. You don't want to have to think when you're up there, because you're drained, physically and mentally. So I understand that. I'm probably still going to make fun of you if I see you doing it at the gym in your underwear, but whatever. I have less a problem with that, because that guy's doing that for a purpose. Like, he's really doing something. Other than somebody sitting on the bench and then like, hey, record me doing this set so I can put it up. It's like, who are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? Because 2 years from now, no one's going to give a shit that you bench this. So unless you're doing it for yourself, which at this point you're not. And like, I left like the commercial gym thing a while ago, and I went to a private gym, and it was much different there. Obviously, there's still people doing that, and that's on them. But it was a powerlifting gym, so a lot of them were competing and checking form and putting up videos for their trainees and that kind of stuff. So it's a little different. And then now I have my own gym, so I'm kind of insulated from that whole world. And like I said, it means something different to me now than it used to. I miss it. I do. I miss bodybuilding. I thought it was fun when I did it. It was an important part of my life, is like building who I am as a person. Obviously I carry it forward, and then like all the things I learned affect my decisions to this day. Like, people look at me, like how I'm built. Like, I'm not the biggest dude in the world, but I don't look like a freaking accountant. So when people
there's something, I mean, very similar to running, because I've only just recently gotten into bodybuilding. Like, much
what
later
a
in life.
loser.
I know. We've kind of flipped our interests the past couple of years.
Hey, I have not lost a pound.
No, but I just mean in terms
maintained
of
my muscle mass, and I have ran my ass off. I don't want to hear it. I'm just kidding.
No, but like in terms of where our primary interests have been,
yes,
there's been a bit of a flip. But I mean, it's a very similar type of high, especially when you the meticulous work of organizing a plan, the combination of volume, intensity, targeting, seeing the development. There is it's very similar to actually constructing and executing a running plan towards, a distance race. Like those key steps of building up and progression and, stamina and everything else like that. It's all very much within the same vein of motivation and then working towards something and having that end goal. So, and like that at its purest is what's great about it.
And you are right, though. I was just giving you shit. We have flipped.
Oh, I know.
Like, we flipped completely, where you are now currently powerlifting and bodybuilding, like doing like it's more of I forget what it's called, but it's like a hybrid thing where you're focused on like actual weight accomplishments, but also taking care of your physique at the same time.
Yeah. Like very little. Like I usually I'll only usually take videos of things where I'm going heavy on just to watch my form. So that's usually what you end up getting from me.
All the heavy
if
shit.
I ever send anything.
Yeah, dude, I don't send people when I'm benching 135. Of course, that's the good lift.
But that's what I'm usually doing. But yeah, I'm not going to take time to record to record my very weak Swiss bar bench press. But, when I'm either overhead pressing or deadlifting, which are pretty much the only two heavy strength things I'm doing these days. I've kind of backed off back squats a lot.
I have as well, but that's because I've cut down my leg days because I don't know how to fit them into my running schedule. I run 5 days a week, and I just don't know how to put it in.
Yeah, I mean I've been there. I feel you on that.
I still do upper body. Like I do an upper body split. Like I'll do push pull. I just. And I'll do squats, like bodyweight squats and kettlebell stuff, like really easy just to go through the motions to make sure I don't lose that. But I'm not, I don't do back squats anymore.
Do you know what I've been big on, which I kind of want to get the actual apparatus for. So I've been really big on landmine squats, and I'll load up pretty heavy on it. But I want to get
I should get one of those.
You ever seen a linebacker squat setup?
No. What's
So
that?
essentially, it's kind of like the pads you'd have on like a tack
Oh,
squat or something that
yes.
goes into a landmine setup. And I've been looking at getting one of those because I like the range of motion, and I always hate front squats, but I love landmine squats. So I kind of just I want to be able to load it more, but still have that pattern of movement.
All right, all right. I see what it is. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's just like a
Yeah,
yoke that goes around with pads on
basically.
it. Yeah. Yeah, the landmine thing, I have to get one that doesn't damage my frame because it's a pet peeve of mine is spending an untold amount of money on a frame and then
And then
just scratching the shit out of my powder coat with like this $20 landmine attachment. I'm not doing that. I'm
yes,
just not. So
as you should not. But
I just haven't. I've invested. I built my own speed bag thing. I put that up,
mhm.
um, and but the dumbbells and like I have like enough weights to do like my rack stuff on my rack for my power bar. But like I don't have a lot of the things that you have, which this is my first year doing it, so hopefully I'll slowly build into it. But the next thing I'm buying is a really expensive treadmill.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get a true form treadmill.
Nice.
So they last forever. It's a
Yeah.
lifetime. It's a lifetime investment. It's one of the curved motorless ones. It helps with your
Yes.
running form.
I
Um,
will only run on a motorless treadmill for the rest of my life
yeah,
if I am ever on a treadmill, flat out.
yeah.
For real.
If I have a choice, like obviously if I'm in a hotel and I can't go outside to run or whatever, or if I need like if I'm
I'll
at
do an elliptical. Like honestly,
oh that's better. That's a good
honest
idea.
the impact of a motorized treadmill versus what you get out of it is so
It's stupid.
yeah.
You're just jumping up and down.
And
You're
you're
not.
not building up your feet, your ankle muscles. You're not really building the good connections and push off you need
No,
to
you're not
that you get
propelling
from running.
yourself forward.
Exactly. So it's just all the impact and none of the development that you need for
Yeah,
running.
it's
So
the
yeah.
equivalent. Do you remember that MythBusters episode where they did the kit car and they tried drive? Remember when they went to go drive it on a truck?
Oh yeah.
So it's a physics. No, it's a physics thing. So Jamie and Adam thought that because the tires were spinning at 60 miles an hour, the second it went up onto that ramp, it would just launch itself into the truck. But it's not about how fast the tires are moving. It's the mass of the car. How fast is the car moving? If it's moving at 65 miles an hour, it's going to stay relative to the ground. It's going to keep moving at that speed, not to the truck. So if it's moving a mile an hour faster than the truck, it's going to keep moving at a mile an hour, and the wheels are going to adjust to that, right? Because of the force being applied. It's very
Mhm.
similar when you're running on a treadmill. If you were to jump off a treadmill, you're not going to go flying forward because your legs are moving. You're going to
Nope.
stand still. But the difference is if you did that with when you're propelling it yourself, like with the non-motorized ones, if you stop, it flings you backwards because you've created that motion.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a big difference. And I've ran on like the Assault one. I've ran on the Woodway one. Don't know if I ran on a True Form. But I've heard enough good things that I just
Yeah.
went for it. So
Good. I'm happy for you.
all
That's
right,
definitely one of the
this has
that is
been a
something that
long
will
one.
come in the future.
We have to I have to
Ooh.
split this one up. That not I
Yeah.
mean it's gonna be fine. I'll probably upload the whole thing and then I'm gonna split it up into segments and I might upload more than once this week.
Not a bad idea. Ooh, another fun thing we could do for a future show. Gym walkthrough.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Do a side by side home gym walkthrough and
Oh, that would be fun. That'd be
yeah.
I wonder how I could do that. I could take the camera out. Oh, you know what I could do? I could pre-record. So,
Yeah.
do you have a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera? If not,
No.
it's okay if you don't, right? It's not a cheap thing. I just happen to have one for like she's doing
I know someone
photography.
who does though.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
if you just take video, it takes incredible video. If you don't have one of those, your phone is going to take excellent video too. Um,
Mm.
so if you just take the video and then I can throw them in and then we could play it while I can actually superimpose the video in between us and then we can talk about it as we're walking through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put a pin in that one.
All right, cool. All right.
All right.
Thank you. If you made it this far, you're a legend. I can't believe you listened to all those different topics. I really can't because we started.
Yeah.
What did we started off on a weird tangent.
We started with
talking about karate combat. We talked about Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. We talked about some other stuff. Moved into like obviously the fights, then mental health issues, and then the bodybuilding. So like we covered a lot of topics, and if you made it through all those things, like you're
Kudos.
probably our long lost brother because nobody is interested in all those things. Like there's another person on the planet who interested in all the things I am, and I'm staring at him. So
whoever you are at the NSA that got assigned to watch this, I mean, kudos to you.
It's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry that you made it through. But anyway, if you did get forced to watch this by your government, please like and subscribe, and then tell everybody else about it, because like this is something that I love doing, and I'd love to do more of it, and possibly in a professional fashion going forward.
Absolutely. And also another thing moving forward, because Olympia's in 2 weeks, isn't it?
I thought it was.
I think Olympia's in 2 weeks. It's either 2 or 4 weeks from
September, October, November. Is it in October? Is that when the Olympia is? Is October or November? I forget. I used to know all these things. I actually don't know. I used to be able to name all the former Olympians. I could probably still do it. And I knew the order they won them in, too.
It is October 7th through October 10th.
Yeah, 2 weeks. You're right.
So, yeah, we could...
Maybe I'll pay attention. You just got to remind me, and I'll go through and watch this stuff.
Yeah, I'll do a little... I've been paying attention recently, so we can do a little...
Sweet.
Yeah, do a little analysis. That'll be fun. All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I love y'all. I hope you have a great week. Later.
Take care.